So yesterday was the Democrat primary for mayor of Philadelphia. Normally I wouldn't really care about an election like this happening in a deep blue city, since most of these places are pretty much beyond saving at this point. But there's a very interesting story to be told about how this primary ended up. And I'm also from the Philadelphia area, so it hits close to home. Now, the one thing you can definitively say about this race is that it will be very hard for the new mayor to be worse than the current mayor, who, after the shooting that occurred on the 4th of July, instead of acknowledging the realities of crime in the city, publicly admitted to not wanting to be the mayor anymore. Now, as you can see, the winner was a woman named Sherelle Parker, and she won by a large plurality of the votes. She is a former member of the Philadelphia City Council. The very interesting thing about Sherelle Parker is that she was the only candidate in the race who endorsed stop and frisk, which gives the police broad authorities to stop suspects if they have reasonable suspicion that they are about to commit a crime. As you may recall, Michael Bloomberg became infamous for implementing this policy in New York City when he was mayor. She also called for putting more police officers on the streets, as well as eliminating safe injection sites. Now, progressives constantly tell us that stop and frisk is a racist policy because the people who are stopped the most are overwhelmingly African American. And progressives ensure to us that black people do not support this policy. Now, there was another candidate in this race named Helen Gim. She was endorsed by AOC, Bernie Sanders, and just about every other major progressive in America. And she ran as the soft on crime defund the police candidate. But it was Sherelle Parker who not only won, but dominated the black vote. She won nearly 60% of majority black precincts. She also won a vast majority of poor and working class precincts. These were the precincts that were hit the hardest by the surge in crime in Philadelphia, in a city that has set records over the last couple years in homicides and overall violent crime. If you take a look at the turquoise on this map, these are all of the areas that Sherelle Parker won. Working class, majority black neighborhoods in northwest and southwest Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the places where Helen Gim won big were University City, where the University of Pennsylvania is, as well as Fishtown in South Philly. These are places dominated by woke white progressives. And because of that, the progressive darling ended up finishing in a distant third. So the Democrat, who talked like a conservative on crime, supported stop and frisk and putting more police officers on the streets, won big, and won big with the black vote. And the candidate endorsed by the progressives got destroyed. Now, I don't know how Sherelle Parker will govern. She is, after all, a Democrat at the end of the day. But her victory demonstrated, once again, that everything progressives tell us about black voters is complete and total bullshit. And their policies are wildly unpopular.